everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden back with you with the second hour of Fire Your MD Now. Did I hear myself? What was that, second hour? Exactly. We're a 2-hour show now, thanks to you, the listener. So in order to support you, the listener, we're going to go right to the phones. Karen from Wyoming is calling in with a question about Parkinson's disease, I think. Thanks for the call, Karen. You are live. Hello, Karen.
A natural remedy magazine that maybe my brother-in-law, who was diagnosed in 2005 with Parkinson, that he might have an accumulation of manganese, that because he was a welder for many years, that the fumes kind of build up and could cause Parkinson-like symptoms.
Well, yeah.
Is that true?
I've never heard of that. Before one of the things that I've done in my medical career is I was one of the first naturopathic physicians in the United States to do comprehensive heavy metal toxicity testing with patients. And there's a lab in Illinois that does a very good job at that. So, if there is a problem with too much of any toxic material in the body, if it's still in the body causing trouble, then you can get your hands on that diagnostically. There's some really pretty sophisticated testing that you can do in order to dial that in. How long has he been symptomatic?
Since 2005.
And has he plateaued? Is it getting worse or is it getting better?
No, it's getting worse, and they said that he probably has Lewy body dementia, but they can't diagnose that until autopsy. But
right.
He hallucinates and sees things and everything.
Okay, so here's what our take on Parkinson's disease is, all right? From our point of view, Parkinson's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, multiple sclerosis are all the same disease, just affecting different parts of the central nervous system. Now, if you cut an apple in half and leave it on the tabletop, the fruit part turns brown. That's caused by oxidative damage. Iron turns to rust. That's caused by oxidative damage. Food spoils. That's caused by oxidative damage. Oxidative damage is the great destroyer. And it causes everything to wither and die, and it happens everywhere all of the time. We believe that Parkinson's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, and multiple sclerosis are caused by oxidative damage to different parts of the central nervous system. Now, what causes oxidative damage? Well, the toxic chemicals in the food and in the air and in the water, ionizing radiation, fried food, oil in a bottle, consistent consumption of food that delivers a net negative physiological effect to the body. So when we encounter somebody with an illness of the central nervous system, which we believe has its roots in oxidative damage, then we clean the diet up 100%. So my recommendation to support and promote this gentleman's health would be, number one, to eliminate the 10 bad foods from his diet. Eliminate the 10 bad foods. And you can download that list for free, or we'll give it to you for free if you go to my website and sign up for my free monthly newsletter. It's right there on the front page. So you got to identify and eliminate the 10 bad foods. And I'm telling you right now, no oil in a bottle, no fried food. Those are the two biggest ones. No oil in a bottle, no salad dressing, no olive oil, no more cooking with oil, and no more fried food. That means no more French fries, no more stir-fried rice, no more potato chips, no more fried chicken, no more anything that's fried, all right? Now, because it's the central nervous system, what we do with food is encourage the consumption of food that's high in the stuff that the central nervous system is made from. And this kind of makes sense, because if you had a broken bone, it would make sense for you to eat food that's rich in calcium, because that's what your bones are made from. Well, guess what the central nervous system is made from? It's made from cholesterol. So if I had Parkinson's disease, I would flush my statin drugs down the toilet, because statin drugs make cholesterol levels in the body way too low, and I would eat a diet that's 80% fat. And by the way, Harvard University agrees with us in this consideration that people with Parkinson's disease benefit from a diet that's 80% good fats. So what's the easiest way to do this? 12 eggs a day. 12 eggs a day with butter and salt. Soft scrambled, soft boiled, or poached. And either way, if you soft scramble them in butter in a fry pan, not oil or Pam in a fry pan, real butter. And I'm not talking margarine, I'm talking butter with salt in it. 12 eggs a day is the recommendation. As far as food goes, it's fat, and then more fat, and then more fat after that. Whole milk, whole full-fat yogurt, cheese, butter, eggs. Just go crazy with the consumption of fat. And finally, we want to provide the body with nutritional support, right? We give the body the essential raw materials that it needs to work optimally. And one of the things that is interesting here is, in addition to eliminating food that causes oxidative damage, we also want to support the body's ability to eliminate oxidative damage before it happens, and the body does that with antioxidants. That's how they got their name. Antioxidants are measured by something called an ORAC score. That's ORAC. So if I had Parkinson's disease, I would make sure that my daily consumption of antioxidant materials, that's antioxidant nutritional supplements, antioxidant teas, antioxidant juices, antioxidant foods, was totaled 100,000 ORAC points a day. He needs to get his antioxidant intake up to over 100,000 ORAC points a day. And you do that with a combination of food, a combination of drink, and a combination of nutritional supplements. So he has to do a little homework. Do a Google search for the ORAC value of foods and, see how much ORAC is in the green tea. There's antioxidants in green tea, antioxidants in blueberries, antioxidants in cinnamon, antioxidants in red wine, antioxidants in walnuts. There's antioxidants everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but almost everywhere. And finally, for the nutritional supplementation, my recommendation would be one anti-aging healthy start pack. One anti-aging healthy start pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and 4 bottles of selenium a month. And why selenium? Because selenium augments the body's natural antioxidant. The body has SMART, and the body has its own antioxidant. It's called glutathione, and selenium helps the body recycle glutathione. So simply by taking selenium, you strengthen your body's ability to fight oxidative damage without taking any, antioxidants into your body at all. So the recommendation, 4 bottles of selenium a month, 1 anti-aging healthy start pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. A diet that's high in cholesterol, 12 eggs a day with butter and salt. Eliminate the 10 bad foods from the diet. And if it's inside of the budget, 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day, 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. And if it's in the budget, as much of a longevity supplement called Z-Radical, as much Z-Radical as he can afford. A bottle a day is what I would do. That would get very expensive, though, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's where I would go. I don't really.
Would you just stop his medicine that they put him on?
No.
All of a sudden, or wean him off?
I can't stop his medicine, right? Because I'm not licensed to prescribe that medicine in the state that he lives. So, I can't be recommending people stop medicines. If it were me, and I had Parkinson's disease, I would not take conventional medicine. I wouldn't do it. Yeah. I would not do it. I just wouldn't do it. And when you're taking big-time prescriptive agents and you've been taking them for more than a couple of months, you have to get professional advice. If you choose of your own free will to stop taking them, you need to go to a pharmacist and say, hey, man, this is what I've been taking. How do I stop it? Because some of this stuff you can just stop cold turkey, and others you have to wean off over the course of 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever, right?
Okay.
So he needs professional advice here. But really the key is antioxidants and cholesterol. And the nutritional supplements would be in the background. So check it out and let us know what happens. Does that sound good, Karen?
That does. Thank you very much.
All
One
right,
other question.
Yeah.
If somebody has a thyroid problem, are they not supposed to take the longevity mineral?
Oh, no, it's just the opposite.
It doesn't make sense to me. My friend said, no, he couldn't take them because it eats up the thyroid medicine.
No, that's nonsense.
That's what I thought. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, it's the opposite. The most common thyroid medicine is Synthroid. And Synthroid is thyroid hormone 3, T3. I'm sorry, it's T4. It's thyroid hormone 4. The body has two thyroid hormones that it uses mostly, thyroid hormone 3 and thyroid hormone 4. Thyroid hormone 3 is the body's preferred form of thyroid hormone. It doesn't make a lot of it, but it makes a lot of T4, which is what Synthroid is, which is the most commonly prescribed thyroid medicine. Synthroid, which is T4, will convert to T3 inside the body if there is enough selenium. If there's not enough selenium, it just stays as T4 and it produces minor effects, but really when you get the T4 to convert to T3, you feel so much better. And it's selenium that makes that happen. And also, if anybody's on a thyroid medicine, they should enroll their physician or whoever prescribed it into letting them try Armour Thyroid for 60 days. And the physician will huff and puff and say, well, that's an old-fashioned medicine and it's not as effective, but that's pharmaceutical nonsense. The only people telling him it's not effective are the people that make Synthroid, right? Because they don't want, it's just, a territory game. Most of my patients who switched from Synthroid to Armour Thyroid, they feel better just from switching to Armour Thyroid. So get them to try that for 60 days and take the nutritional supplements. They need it. 866-582-9933 is the number to call. You better call. The boards are lit up like a Christmas tree. We're going right now to Elizabeth in Texas with a question about vaccines. Thanks for waiting, Elizabeth. You are live.
Thank you, Dr. Glidden. I just wanted to ask your opinion on a concern of mine involving vaccines. And basically, I think all vaccines are damaging to the body, yes, because of the neurotoxins, but mainly, and this is my question, that they contain foreign DNA and foreign proteins. Is it possible for the foreign DNA material of the virus in the vaccine to interfere with our body's own genome and produce an autoimmune disorder or condition like what we see all the time today now?
What do you think?
Well, I think it is just because the prevalence is so high. I don't understand entirely how that works when you mix the material from the viral material with our own body's material, but our body is trained to reject anything that's foreign. So it makes sense to me, just like when you ingest something that you're intolerant to.
Well, I love the way you think. You're half right, all right? So it does not make sense. Scientists have no idea what a virus is. They have no idea what a virus is. I mean, how it works. It's DNA or RNA. It's genetic material that's covered by a protein coat, and sometimes that protein coat is covered by a fatty membrane. If it's not covered by a fatty membrane, it's called a naked virus. But, it's genetic material covered by one or two coats, and it's not alive. It's not alive. And I talked about this yesterday on the radio show. Well, what the hell? If it's not alive, how does it work? If it's not alive, how does it infiltrate into the cells of the body? And what viruses do is they get taken up. They're in your bloodstream. Somehow they get into your bloodstream. And somehow, even though they're dead, they're not alive, they're inert, they make their way to a very specific part of the body. It's an immune cell, it's a lung cell, it's a urinary tract cell, or whatever. Different viruses target different parts of the body. And then once they're at their target organ, they attach to a receptor site on the cell wall, they get taken up inside the cell, and once inside the cell, the genetic material inside the virus attacks the genetic material inside the nucleus of the cell, takes it over. It's like a hostile takeover. and makes the cell stop doing what the cell was doing and start making more virus particles. That's how the influenza virus works. And then, so the cell makes, more and more and more and more and more and more and more viruses until the cell explodes, and then the cell dies, and that's why you have fever and tissue destruction and like that. That's how they work. But the scientific community is clueless as to how this happens in the first place, and they don't know, is it dead, is it alive? They'll tell you that it's dead, but if it's dead, how can it do this? So they're missing a big, big, big piece of this. And yet, even though they're completely clueless about how this works, they have no problem at all making an antivirus that has genetic material in it and throwing it into the human body. And you've got to be kidding me, right? And, this is how we get Guillain-Barré syndrome as a result of one of the flu vaccines from 10 years ago, which is a severe neurological disorder. There's been over $5 billion in damages paid to Guillain-Barré syndrome sufferers because it was the vaccine that gave it to them. You would think that things like this would give the pharmaceutical industry pause to reconsider what they're doing, but they don't. Because this is one giant crazy experiment to them, and they don't give a crap about human suffering. They don't. The pharmaceutical industries developed a Zyklon B gas in World War II that killed the people in the concentration camps. They used the people in the concentration camps to experiment on. They used the people in the concentration camps to work in the drug companies to make the gas that killed them. They have no heart. They have no social conscience. They need to be avoided 100% of the time. And, you're absolutely right that because they don't really know what the heck is going on, why would they throw it into the human body in such a cavalier manner? So don't get vaccinated is my bottom line. I have a 24-year-old son. He's not vaccinated. Now, if you want to get good information on vaccines, do a Google search for Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. She wrote the book, literally, on vaccination. She has, I think, perhaps the most science-based, clinically relevant information on vaccines that is currently available. And at the beginning of this little diatribe, Elizabeth, I said that you were half right. Well, the reason that you're only half right is that there's no such thing as an autoimmune disease. There's no such thing as an autoimmune disease. And if you want to know more about that, then go to my website, become a subscriber. I have a whole webinar that I've archived about this. And, maybe I'll do a radio show about this in the past. Don't be fooled by pharmaceutical propaganda. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your friendly neighborhood naturopath. If you're listening to the podcast or you're listening to the live presentation and you want to talk to a living, breathing human being about what we've got going on here, either the health opportunity or the business opportunity, that number to call is 855-347-3696. That's 855-347-3696. Going right back to the phone now with John from Washington calling about Alexander disease. Isn't that interesting? John, thanks for the call. You are live.
Thank you for taking my call, Dr. Glidden.
Yeah.
My wife's close friend, her grandson is in the hospital right now. He fell down and hit his head. And so he went to the hospital, and he's in there right now. And after talking with the parents, they've determined that the child hasn't been, developing. He's slow on the vocabulary, and he's just starting to walk. He's 2 years old, and probably an average-sized looking kid. And after having him for a while, they've determined that he's 80% determined that he's got Alexander disease.
Yep.
And did a little look on the internet that kind of determined what it was, and it looked like the prognosis wasn't good. So,
well, how old is he?
He's 2.
Okay. All right. So Alexander disease, for the listening audience, is an illness of the brain where brain cells are destroyed. Actually, if you look at the wires in your house, there's the little copper wire, and then the wire has a plastic coating around it, right? And the coating is for insulation. Well, it's no different in the human body. All the nerves in your body have a coating on the outside of the nerve as a form of insulation, and this coating is called myelin, M-Y-E-L-I-N, the myelin sheath. And with Alexander disease, the myelin sheath in the brain, in certain parts of the brain, it gets destroyed. Now, the MDs consider this disease. They don't know what causes it. They know that it's there, but they think it has its roots in genetics. They refer to it as an autosomal dominant disorder, and that, the child has a 50% chance of getting it because the parents are carrying a bad gene. Now, just because it says on Wikipedia that it's genetic doesn't mean that it's genetic. And just with cystic fibrosis, of course, which medical profession still says is a genetic disease, even though Dr. Wallach's research proved that it's not genetic, that it's a chromosomal, it's a breakdown, it's a mutation to a gene, not caused by genetics, but caused by nutrient deficiencies in the pregnant mother. So the first thing we do with anybody that has a child with a genetic quote-unquote disease is we have to clean up the diet of the mother. Now there's, so that the future offspring are not going to be negatively affected. And from our point of view, this isn't the mother's fault, it's the pediatrician's fault. Because as far as we're concerned, all genetic diseases, all birth defects, this would be considered a birth defect, in my opinion, are caused by nutrient deficiencies in blood in the body of the pregnant mother. So the mother really needs to be gluten-free. She needs to be on the 90 essential nutrients and selenium for 3 months before she even considers having another child, okay? Number one. Number two, what we do here, right, is boilerplate, old-fashioned, it's actually new-fashioned, boilerplate, new-fashioned, science-based, clinically verified medical therapeutics. So the treatment for this child here to support and promote the health of his central nervous system is no different than what I recommended for the Parkinson's person. So what do we want to do? We want to give the 90 essential nutrients appropriate for body weight. So that's one anti-aging healthy start pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. 1 bottle of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and then 1 extra bottle. So, if the kid's 50 pounds, give him 2 bottles of selenium a month. If he's 80 pounds, give him 2 bottles of selenium a month, okay? A diet that's high in cholesterol, so give him 3 eggs a day with butter and salt, and full-fat yogurt, and full-fat milk, and full-fat cheese. Give him cholesterol, and then some more cholesterol, and make sure he gets salt on his food, because that'll help his digestion. And he needs to be consuming antioxidants. Now, in a child, we knock down the number of ORAC because their body is smaller, so it's a minimum. His target for antioxidant consumption a day would be 50,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. 50,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. Now, in one healthy start pack, if he does it correctly, you don't know how much he weighs, do you?
I would guess he's probably 30 pounds.
Yeah, okay. So if then we dose him at the 50-pound dose, okay? So a 50-pound dose of the Healthy Start Pack, he's going to get about 19,000 ORAC a day. So he needs to dial in 30,000 ORAC points of antioxidants from some other source. Blueberries, raspberries, walnuts, curry powder, cinnamon powder. His parents need to get on board the antioxidant train. They need to do a Google search and find out which foods and which beverages are high in antioxidants, get him the nutritional supplements, and give him a diet that's extremely high in cholesterol, and see what happens. Usually in kids like this, if the therapeutic provokes a positive response, you're going to see a positive response within 90 days. So tell them, please, to do this program for 3 months, 3 months before they judge it one way or the other. And really, basically, if they're religious people, tell them that what we're doing is supporting and promoting his body's ability to fix itself, because our fundamental belief is that, number one, the human body can fix itself. Number two, it wants to fix itself. And number three, most of the time when it isn't able to fix itself, it's because it's run out of the stuff it needs to fix itself. Now, how far is he going to be able to bounce back? I don't know. I've never treated this. I've seen multiple sclerosis patients completely cured. I've seen it. I've met the people. I've met them. I met a woman in Colorado. She had multiple sclerosis so bad she was in a wheelchair, and now she's a kickboxer. So I've seen it work. I've also seen it not work. So, who knows? They got nothing to lose here and everything to gain. And certainly the MDs are clueless about this. They don't even know. They think it's genetic, and they call it a genetic mutation, but they don't then therefore investigate, well, what was it that caused the gene to go bad? You would think they would do that. You would think they would ask that question, but they don't. Because remember, they're not concerned with how to cure disease. They're only concerned with how to manage it and make money into the process. And it's true. I mean, it sounds horrible when I say it, but that's the way that it is. And it's a big problem, John. I mean, it's a big problem. So this is what I would do. Eggs and butter and salt, the anti-aging healthy start pack, selenium. And, there's one more thing that you can do, and that's the Z-Radical, the Escape Z-Radical sold by Longevity. That's a really good add-on if the budget will allow it, and make sure he gets 100,000 ORAC points, 50,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. So check it out and try to convince the parents to do this. Good luck in that regard, because often, the doctors will tell them a sob story. But thanks for calling, John. I appreciate your concern for people in your life other than yourself. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is another reason to join Longevity, because the people that you get to hang out with are genuinely kind, caring, and compassionate people. They're also self-motivated people. They're tired of working for the man. They're tired of getting minimum wage. They're tired of having their paychecks robbed by, corporate raiders. They're tired of it. And they want to make a difference in their own lives. They're self-starters. They're self-motivating, positive people. Now, if you had the choice to be able to hang out for $10 with self-motivating, positive people who are compassionate, wouldn't that be a good group of friends to make? I mean, it would be a great group of friends to make. Or, you could hang out with people who are depressed, people who are sick, people who are in poverty, and people who are pessimistic, which is what most people in this country are. I mean, let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. Look around. Everybody's broke. Everybody's sick. Everybody's depressed. Everybody's crying for government handout. Well, if you're done with that, you want to be around optimistic, compassionate people, join us. You have no idea what you're missing. I'm telling you, you have no idea what you're missing. All right, we have time for one more caller in this segment, so we are going to go to somebody next. I think it's Anne Marie. Anne Marie, who's next. Thanks for calling, Anne Marie. You are live.
Hi, I'm calling about my son. He's 22 years old, and he kept this to himself for 6 months, but he's developed a lump on his, I guess it would be the cervical lymph node. Yep. And, being 22 years old, he's taking his sweet time, and he just barely got a blood test on Friday, so we're waiting for the results. And I was just wondering what your thoughts were on that. He has one lump that's about an inch in diameter, and then a smaller one on top of that.
Well, oftentimes, simple lumps, there's a saying in medicine that when you hear hoofbeats, you think about horses before you think about zebras. So the most common cause of something like this would be malnutrition, bad diet, which leads to chronic stimulation of the immune system, and then there's going to be a little fibrous nodule that appears in the lymphs, because, that's just kind of the way it goes. Could be cancer, right? I mean, if we're going to go to the extreme of nastiness. It could be that, and there's 6 or 7 other things in the middle of those two extremes. So, from a prudent point of view, it's a good idea, because to get it diagnosed properly. So, what I would do is I'd have it biopsied. That's what I would do, because knowledge is power. And then you'll know, and then you'll be able to sleep at night. And remember, however, all right, heaven forbid it comes back negative. You need to get my book. It's $10. You can download it for $10 at Amazon.com if you have a Kindle or some other electronic reader, right? $10. Or find somebody who's got my book. And in the chapter on cancer, heaven forbid it's cancer. I'm not saying it is. It's really a slim possibility that that's what it is. But if it turns out to be a negative diagnosis, for heaven's sake, make sure you ask the doctor the 10 questions in my chapter on cancer. But it's a long shot that it is anything that dangerous. I think it's just a benign. If my first guess, because of his age, would be it's just a benign nothing caused by chronic overactive immune system. What causes a chronic overactive immune system? Eating all the wrong foods all the time, not having enough protein in your body, and not having enough raw materials to keep everything well oiled. No different than your car, right? You got to keep the car tuned up in order to have it run properly. If you don't, there's going to be all kinds of gunk in the oil. There's going to be all kinds of gunk in the air filter. There's going to be all kinds of gunk. The fuel line can get all clogged up. It's just from life. So I think that that's probably what it is, but, you need to diagnose stuff like this so that you know. And most of the time, if they're not addicted to street drugs, alcohol, or prescription medicines, the older doctors are pretty good at diagnostics. I'd stay away from any doctor unless he's over 50. Stay away from any MD unless he's over 50, and only go to them for diagnostic stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Peter Glidden, it's flu week here, and tomorrow, tune in, we're going to be talking about something called the CIDRAP, Comprehensive Influenza Vaccine Initiative. This is a really interesting study, and it's going to blow your mind what the results of this study is. It's one of the most comprehensive influenza assessments, influenza vaccine assessments ever done. You're not going to believe what the results were. That's on tomorrow's show, right here on the Genesis Communication Network, airing live from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock Central Time, and then podcast for 24 hours after the fact. Those podcasts are available at gcnlive.com, or just go to fireyourmdnow.com and click on the links. We have time for one more phone call here. We're going to go right now to Abby, calling up from, I think, Miami. Welcome aboard, Abby. How can I help?
Hi, Dr. Blue. This is Abby again. Can you hear me well?
I can. Thanks for calling. What's up?
I have another person that I need to help here. He's 60 years old, 165 pounds. And he says he exercises every day. And he has sore muscles all the time from like a few months to now. And he's also using a little bit of medication for high blood pressure for a long time, many years. That's all.
Okay, so, high blood pressure and arthritis often, or frequently, most of the time, are two different arms of the same octopus. They're both mineral deficiencies with an emphasis on calcium and magnesium. So my first guess would be, right, that he has chronic mineral deficiencies, which would be substantiated by the third symptom that he has here. That's the chronic muscle aches. Oftentimes, chronic muscle aching, which is different than aching in the joints, right, or aching in the skin. If it's aching specifically in the muscles, then the first thing we think about is fibromyalgia. And if it's fibromyalgia is taken care of by, it's a selenium deficiency. And it's ironic because veterinarians and farmers and ranchers for the last 50 years have known that white muscle disease is a selenium deficiency. So when any of their animals are born with it or develop it, they give them a selenium shot injection, and it goes away within, a couple of minutes, actually. So the recommendation here for the first 90 days for him would be 1 healthy bone and joint pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and 4 bottles of selenium a month. I don't care how much he weighs. Give him 4 bottles of selenium a month, 1 healthy bone and joint pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, and give him extra glucogel if you need to, in order to bring his total glucogel consumption to 1 capsule per 10 pounds of body weight per day, right? So if he's 210 pounds, he needs 21 glucogel a day. 21 a day times 30 days in a month, that's 610 glucogel. So you might need to order 1 extra bottle of the glucogel at the 120 count or at the 240 count in order to dial that in. Now, if he's allergic to shellfish, then we don't give him the Healthy Start Pack. We give the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the essential fatty acids, and the Cal Toddy instead of the Osteo FX Plus, and instead of the glucogel, we give the Fucoid Z. That's an escape product, Fucoid-Z. And what's the dosage on that? Nobody knows. It's an expensive product. If I'm trying to support and promote the health of somebody's joints in the face of a diagnosis of arthritis and they have a shellfish allergy, the minimum amount of Fucoid Z would be 3 bottles a month. 3 bottles a month, right? 2 bottles a month might help. 3 bottles a month is going to help. So dial that in for him, the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, and he can use the CM cream in the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack topically on the parts of his body that are in pain. And often that's a fantastic pain reducer. It's non-addictive. It doesn't hurt the body. It's made from fish oil. It's a great product to use to help manage pain from the outside while we're promoting the body's ability to fix it from the inside. And remember, buddy, everybody goes on the diet. No exceptions. Everybody must eliminate the 10 bad foods. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Influenza Week. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tune in tomorrow. Thanks for your support. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, your friendly neighborhood naturopath. Talk to you tomorrow.